Story 1. If you had parents who were supportive once they are gone, the knowledge that there is no one left to turn to can be difficult. You are now the person everyone looks to as the rock. That realization can be challenging. Story 2. In your late 20s, the world stops handing out second chances and do-overs to men. You are either useful or you are not. The consequences of procrastination, neglect, or fear suddenly solidify and harden, becoming a permanent part of your life before you can blink. Story 3. I did not think I could dislike one of my children. They are a young adult, living independently, and engage in bad behavior that affects others. I will leave it at that. Story 4. You are never going to get there. I think many of us struggle, believing we will finally reach a place where people care about us, where it is okay to make mistakes, where we have proven ourselves and can just breathe. That finish line does not exist. We were cheated out of it as children, and there is no room for it as adults. I am always 100% responsible for 100% of my life. Any misfortune will always be due to some bad choice. No one is obligated to care about me. Everyone is entitled to feel unsafe. Accepting this is very difficult, but it also means no one is entitled to anything from me, no matter how reasonable they think they are or how emotional their appeal is. Most of the opinions and standards to which we are held have no deeper basis than because I said so, and can be removed from your life. Story 5. If you are not successful, you are considered a loser, and if you are considered an automated teller machine. Also, if you are working a lot, you will be blamed for never being there, and if you are not, then for not providing. Story 6. There is a belief that adult men can fix any car, repair any household appliance, cannot experience deep emotions, that we are all perverts, and that we have to earn love. Story 7. You have no one to talk to about how you feel. Like really talk. Maybe a therapist, but who has money for that? I always get jealous of my wife when she can just go on and vent to her friends about a relationship or whatever she might be struggling with. With us, you are on your own, buddy. Story 8. I think all the work you are expected to do to keep everyone else balanced is important. Being a responsible person means helping everyone else get into lifeboats before you get into one yourself. Story 9. Girls want the guy who is vulnerably expressive in a movie or a book. They do not actually like the real-life version. Story 10. To people who do not know me, I am just another strange, weird man. To some, I might look threatening. Simply by existing in the right or wrong place at the right time, my presence could make someone uncomfortable. I understand the issues in this society have created this, but it definitely makes me more aware of myself when I am out. Story 11. Nobody really understands what you go through to keep things operating. They only notice when you cannot. Story 12. Apparently, it is my duty as a man to risk my physical well-being and life for strangers on the street. Otherwise, I am not a real man, and I am the bad guy when I say I am not obliged to protect strangers on the street and put myself in harm's way or at risk of dying or sustaining a lifelong injury over it. I will risk my life for my loved ones and friends, but that is it. Story 13. Responsibilities. And once you are in a relationship with someone, those responsibilities increase fourfold. There is always something to address. Story 14. How rare real friends are. Sure, I have a lot of friends. We often go out with our cars, visit the cinema, and so on. But I cannot say that I have one best friend whom I would trust with everything I have. Too many have turned on me in the last 15 years. Maybe I am the problem, but it does not feel like I pushed them out of my life. I would really love to have that one friend I can count on. Story 15. Because my wife read this, if a woman is as dumb as a box of doorknobs, it does not get better. If she has stupid ideas, they will only get worse. If she shows any signs of weakness, mental, physical, emotional, or otherwise, it will only deteriorate. Never marry. Have children if you must, but be prepared for a world of hurt if their mother is stupid and illogical. Some say do not get involved with someone who is crazy, which is definitely true, but you should not get involved with someone who is stupid either. It is a drag and less fun than crazy. Story 16. Society is kinder to women. While you can debate rights and income, the reality is a random woman is more likely to receive help from society and authorities than a random man. This is not to say women face fewer difficulties or lead easier lives, but their difficulties are recognized, addressed, and they are supported. For men, any mention of difficulty is treated as weakness. Most women do not understand what it is like to listen to a man. As soon as a man starts to open up, they often lose interest because the things that matter to a man may seem trivial to a woman. Saying men should express more is morally right, but few women have the mental fortitude and patience to support this. On the other hand, it is expected of a man to be a good listener and always provide. Women do provide, but it is not expected of them. Men face social pressure to earn respect and approval from other men, to be seen as an asset, not a liability. Story 17. Women are not interested in you the way you are interested in them. They care much more about what you can do for them than how you look or who you are as a person. Story 18. Being expected to sympathize with people about how disgusting they find you is evil. I understand there are reasons, and I take the point that men should get over things and keep the complaining to a minimum, but I do want to express these things from time to time. Story 19. The pressure of always looking like you have things figured out while you are full of insecurities and doubts, and nobody trying to lend a helping hand. At worst, you will be answered with, "Why are you like this?" if you aren't how others want you to be. I experienced this firsthand during my depression and anorexia between the ages of 18 and 20. I needed help, someone to check on me. I needed to be able to have moments of weakness, but I felt like not even my parents tried to offer that support. I don't really remember everything from that period, but I had the feeling that they didn't even try to understand me or what was weighing on me. Story 20. Nobody cares. It is tough and it is difficult, but if you do not accept this early on, the levels of depression or despair are overwhelming. On the positive side, if you can find one excellent friend, just one, it is enough. More than that is great, but most men these days do not even have one true friend from what I can see. Story 21. No one cares or values you. Worth is measured by what you can provide. If you are not contributing, you are worthless to the world. Women do not care about you. When they have an opportunity, they will harm you without hesitation. No one will believe in you even when you have strong evidence. The list goes on and on. Story 22. My mom is in very good shape. She is into long-distance running, yoga, gardening, camping, and cycling. She is very capable and outdoorsy in my mind. A few years ago, she asked me to help her move a plant that was inside the house during the winter to her garden outside for the summer. The total distance was about 30 to 40 feet. It was a type of tree in a 1 to 2 foot diameter pot filled with dirt. She said it was too heavy for her to do alone and asked me for help. I agreed, thinking it was something nice to do for her. I picked it up like an empty suitcase, expecting it to be heavy, and almost dropped it. It was not heavy at all. It was a joke. It suddenly hit me that I am much stronger physically than her, being a young man. Guys, there is a reason unscrewing the pickle jar is a meme. If the women in your life ask for help with a physical task, assist them. It is not that they are not capable, but you may not realize how strong you are. Story 23. The biggest issue for me is how women and children perceive me and find me scary. I feel like a Labrador, but apparently, I look more like a Rottweiler. The irony is that I keep to myself not because I am brooding, but because I am shy and socially anxious. Story 24. As we grow older, what will matter more than the opinions of others is what we think of ourselves and our actions. One day, the code imprinted in us by others as children will evolve into one of our own. It may not always align with laws or the expectations of others. This may sometimes require difficult choices. We will make these choices because, while we may need to communicate with others, we are always talking to ourselves. Story 25. Very good answers overall. For me, it was the realization that being a man, a real man as viewed by society, is earned every single day. It is like Groundhog Day, the movie. You wake up as a boy every morning, and you must perform and act that day so you can hopefully reach again the status of a respectable man before sunset. Most days you fall short, and people, especially loved ones, will surely remind you. If you succeed, you will be granted a small reward in terms of attention or affection. But it is only a temporary reprieve because as a man, your job is to continue performing every day of your life. Protect, produce, provide, or else you lose your man card. Story 26. There is a point when you are growing up that you start passing as a man instead of a boy. It is difficult to describe the culture shock related to going from a child, someone to be cherished and valued, to becoming a man, someone to be avoided. Story 27. No one from health education said that at about 13 years old you would have an erection for no apparent reason in class. Story 28. People do not care about lonely men, and you have to do all the legwork to become social yourself. Story 29. Loneliness is addictive. Sometimes I have to force myself to socialize outside, thinking, shoot, I have to go outside. Who should I go with? Or, who can I contact to play games and talk to? Story 30. Kind of a minor one, but sometimes getting made fun of for not being traditionally masculine or feeling like a disappointment. My grandfather is what some might describe as a stereotypical man's man. He is big, strong, hardly shows his emotions, and has traditionally masculine hobbies and interests. Sometimes I definitely feel like I am a disappointment to him since I am not like him at all. I am the only other male in my immediate family because he only had my mother and my aunt. He definitely wanted me to be more of a man like himself, but I am certainly not. I still do traditionally masculine things like hunting and yard work, but I also have many interests that are not traditionally masculine and am much more open with my emotions in comparison. I know he loves me, but he has never really said it out loud before. Story 31. Your wife will depend on you to take care of everything. You're supposed to remember everything and protect the family. The child needs many things. Make sure you recall what your wife said 2 weeks ago. If you don't, it's not good. You're also expected to work every day. Monday to Friday at your job, Saturday and Sunday at home. Don't make any plans. They're already taken care of. You get 1 day a year for some recognition, a card, maybe some food. Then, get back to work. I will say this to all men. It is absolutely critical who you decide to marry and have children with, if that is how you want your life to go. My comments are me venting. I have had these conversations with my wife, and our relationship is much better for it. I know that not all marriages communicate this well. Cheers. Story 32. The frustration of isolating yourself from friends and family on the premise that you will come back a better version of yourself, and you do, only to return to a sea of people who spent no time reciprocating or working on themselves while you were away. Story 33. Being a man is loading everyone else into the lifeboat and watching them safely move away while the boat sinks around you every time. Story 34. No one cares. I always thought that it was just my family growing up. But no. No one cares about the masculine struggle. They only care if he can provide for their spending habits. Story 35. Vacation is expensive. It was much easier when I was a child, not paying for anything, facilitating experiences, or worrying about travel. It is very different as an adult. Story 36. How one-sided dating was when I started. It used to be the man's job to find and win the girl. In recent years, with all the female movements, it has started changing. Story 37. Being independent seems great, but in the end, it can be harmful. I lost a parent early and decided that I needed to be a man, so I began isolating myself. As a result, I carry the memory of childhood bullies in my mind because I felt I had to face the bullying alone. When I become overwhelmed and feel humiliated, those memories resurface. I believed this was normal, as did several male friends who experienced the same struggle. It took a well-adjusted male friend who had undergone extensive therapy to tell me, that is not normal, after I revealed some of the bullying thoughts. He then gently guided me with questions and helped me open the door to a kinder version of my self-talk. Story 38. I have mostly heard that men are mean throughout my life, growing up with a single mother and others related to her. Basically, men are blamed for everything. Story 39. Expect criticism, not appreciation. Keep your family fed and sheltered. Their happiness is a moving target and a lower priority. Story 40. Nobody cares about you or your problems. Even the people who display concern about mental health do not care about men's mental well-being. It is us versus each other versus the world. Story 41. The cold hard truth is if you want changes in your life, it is on you. It is not on your environment or the people around you. It is on you. You must build your own philosophy on life, shut out the noise, and focus on what you wish to achieve. No one else is going to make your goals happen. It is a difficult thing to face, and I try not to dwell on it. I will not lie, some goals have passed and gone, and sometimes you must accept that it was not meant to be. Have compassion for yourself. Story 42. Women should be treated with respect and trust. Everyone deserves kindness and fairness in relationships. It is important to build connections based on mutual understanding and support. Story 43. No one cares about you except your parents if you have good ones. Once they get too old to help, you are on your own in this world. Every other person sees you as replaceable, a background character in the role-playing game they are playing. Story 44. You were never meant to be nice or weak. Be the most powerful, deadly beast you can be, but do not use it unless they deserve it. Story 45. There is an entire layer beneath the surface to carry, like an iceberg. Much of what has to happen or be taken care of is not noticed. It does not count as burdens because it is assumed and forgotten. Story 46. Credit card debt occurs when you continue to use your credit card and accumulate a large balance with very high interest rates. Story 47. When you do not have anyone in the family to look up to follow footsteps, or to get some sort of advice or insight. Story 48. No one cares about you. You only have a few people with whom you truly communicate. Other than that, you are only valued if you provide something, and I do not mean money. Story 49. If you have a son and a good relationship with your father, you will be in the unusual position of being a father to your son and a son to your father. It is a complex mental space. Story 50. Don't get sick. You'll learn how fast you become the unclean, regardless of how benign your condition is as it relates to other people. I'm sick. I will likely die sooner rather than later. I'm fine with it, and I'm not going to contaminate anybody with illness. What used to be a casual, "Hey, what's up?" is now an, "Oh, hey, how are you feeling?" As if I'm being punished for reaching out to someone I wanted to keep in touch with. The only thing that's changed about me is that my daily activities now include taking a large amount of medication and attending more doctor's appointments. I get it. It's likely some primal fear originating from animals avoiding ill animals, but I don't think it's very likely you're going to catch being born with one working lung or cancer, so get over it. The hard truth is that all the people who have either attempted to avoid me or keep me at arm's length now will be at my funeral, remembering me when I was right there to make memories with in the time I had left. I stood in a friend's wedding, and he just stopped inviting me to gatherings after I told him about the diagnosis, which is doubly disappointing because all the hometown friends tend to congregate there since he has a large space for entertaining due to his wealth. Thanks, buddy. Unless you have very close friends or family members, you will become a distant thought over time. People might forget what you looked like or how you sounded unless they see a photo or video to refresh their memories. And that's fine. It is how life is, and we should prioritize the needs of the living over the memories of the dead. I already told my family that I want to be cremated and have my ashes tossed into the marsh where I used to go fishing. The sentimentality is for them, not me. I don't care, but at least it will let them feel like they did something. So yeah, anyway, don't get sick, or you'll realize how little you actually mean to everyone you care about. Story 51. How lonely it can get. No one really prepares you for how much pressure there is to always seem okay and handle everything on your own. Story 52. How little the world cares about you. Luckily, I was very young when I learned that and have been adapting ever since. Unlike most boys becoming men. Story 53. On a more practical side, prepare a kit for when you get sick at home by yourself. Because if you get sick enough you cannot drive or walk, it pays to have planned ahead. Maybe some water, Gatorade, electrolytes, saltines, broth, tissues, anti-nausea medicine, and so on. Story 54. It is frequently lonely, soul-crushing lonely. It is often depressing, and it is hard to be optimistic. From around 33 years old onward, it has felt like Geez, how long do I have to keep waking up day after day and doing this? Story 55. Toxic women are just as dangerous as men, but we do not hear about that. Every problem your wife has will be directed at you in some way. She does not have hobbies? It must be because you do not encourage her enough or do not provide her with enough free time. Story 56. Nobody cares unless you are rich or handsome or both. Men are not loved for who they are, but for what they bring or provide. As an average man in today's day and age, you are going to be invisible to most people except the tax authorities. Story 57. Hits a bit harder with kids and owning a business, but you are a caretaker for those around you. You may receive gratitude or thanks. Often you will not, and it doesn't matter. You do what you know is right because it is the right thing to do, not for acknowledgement or reciprocation. It is up to you to care for your own health, physically and mentally. Go all out making birthdays and holidays great for friends and loved ones. But if you want thoughtful Christmas presents for yourself, buy them yourself. If you want your birthday to be celebrated, plan your own party. Story 58. Even if you have not done anything wrong, most people believe that all men are culprits of something. You will be accused of something that may potentially ruin your life. Story 59. Men are biologically expendable. Therefore, if you do not put in the hard work to increase your value to society and present yourself properly to the world in a way that makes you stand out as extraordinary, you will be essentially invisible your whole life and will likely have little support. Men's value must be built, maintained, and constantly expanded in order to experience the human connections we seek. Since we have to work hard to become someone who matters, and becoming that person allows us to enter the kinds of relationships we desire, we tend to be genuine in our bonds. In comparison, women often approach relationships in a more conditional and transactional way. They are capable of neutralizing any emotional connection and leaving if they find a better opportunity. Until men reach 35, life is often rough, unforgiving, and pitiless if they are weak. But after building a solid platform, men enter their attractiveness peak. For women, this peak is early, brief, and largely based on physical appearance. There is no need for a woman to be a high achiever in any other way. For men, the peak starts later and can last another 20 years or longer if they manage their opportunities well. After women's attractiveness begins to decline, it drops sharply, and most women are unable to mitigate or reverse this decline. Story 60. I would say that for children, nobody tells them that men are bad at managing emotions due to societal messaging and expectations. Then, you might be pressured to ignore your emotions, which is harmful to your mental and physical health since they are connected. Fathers often do not manage emotions well or teach their sons how to do so, and sons are likely to copy these behaviors, leading to mental health issues and harmful decisions. Even if mothers try to teach emotions, boys may see that as feminine and might ignore it to their detriment. Story 61. Society values men less than women. Once you realize that, you understand it is up to you to develop skills to make something of yourself. Story 62. The truck driver down the street. Nobody warned me about his anger on the road, but he truly hit me hard when he did. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.